Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been so hot in Western Australia the last couple of weeks. Getting out on the bike's been almost impossible, but it's finally cooled down today. I've got the day off work and have a look what we've got to play with. Here we have the brand new, long awaited Harley Davidson Sportster S. So if this is a bike that's of interest to you, stick around, back in a sec. So here we are aboard the 2022 Harley Davidson Sportster S, and quite an interesting place it is to be too. So I think your first reaction when you first throw your leg over a bike is always interesting to look back on, to see if your first thoughts remain. And my first thoughts when I threw my leg over this bike was, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this position, because you're actually leant forward a fair bit, and with the forward controls you feel a little bit like you're sitting in kind of that sort of position, and I thought it might aggravate my back. I've not got the best back. Some would say I've not got a particularly good front either. But anyway, I digress. But I've been aboard the bike now for probably about 10 minutes, 15 maybe, and already it's feeling quite normal. We have a bizarre ability to adapt to things, don't we? So yeah, I would say within 10 minutes it feels quite normal. It's actually quite a comfortable position now. So this has been, in my case, this has been quite a long awaited bike. I've been looking forward to this coming out, being able to get on one for quite some time now. And unfortunately in Western Australia we're always pretty much the last to get hold of anything. So the Sportster S arrived in WA only probably about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks ago. Unfortunately it's been absolutely crazy hot, as I mentioned earlier, and this has really been the first opportunity where the weather's been favourable and I've been available. So thank you, huge thanks to the guys at Highway Harley in Midvale for allowing me to take this bike out today. Highway Harley is a relatively new shop to Western Australia. I think they've been open just coming up for 2 years now. Fantastic shop, lovely guys. Matthew there kind of runs the place, and Jason and Michael are his sales guys. They're all really nice, really helpful. So yeah, if you're in the market for a Harley, go in and see the guys there at Highway Harley in Midvale. So back to the bike. What can I say? This is very nice. The ride is a little bit on the firm side. I was kind of expecting that, to be honest. We'll try and find some twisties up here shortly, but yeah, it's a little bit on the firm side. It's an unusual look for a Harley, really, because I don't know whether the camera, if the camera's picking that up, but to actually be able to see your front wheel, your front tyre, seems a bit odd. But as I say, within a few minutes this all feels so normal. The engine wise, at the moment all I can tell you is it feels pretty pokey. Not really had the opportunity to explore beyond that just yet. It's the start of a new era, really, isn't it, for Harley? Going into the completely different configuration. They're certainly trying to appeal to a different sort of target market and bring in maybe a slightly younger end. Whatever it is, whatever opens Harley up to a slightly wider audience, good on them. I absolutely think that's the right thing to do. I think they've got to move with the times, and certainly some of the tech that's on this bike, the fact that you've got riding modes, lean sensitive traction control, cruise control, all the things that we're sort of getting to feel are standard almost on sports bikes. We're now getting them on Harley Davidson as well, and they've kind of taken it, I think, to the next level with the Sportster S. I think the Pan America is very similar in terms of tech, and that hopefully will be my next little review. So if you're interested in the Pan America, stick around for that one. I'm hoping to get out in the next few days on that. In terms of handling, from what I can tell so far, that big fat front tyre, that 160 tyre, doesn't seem to be stopping the bike tipping in any way or affecting it adversely at all. Everything feels lovely. Feels super smooth actually. So I'm just in normal road mode at the moment, and there's bags of mid-range grunt. Really does pack a punch. What a lovely, refreshing change for Harley to do something a little bit different. Okay, so I've just stuck her in sport mode. Certainly there's just that little bit more urgency in everything. There is certainly no lack of oomph. This is actually a great bike. Well, thinking back to about 40 minutes ago, when I threw my leg over the bike and thought to myself, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this. How you can change your mind so quick. Considering this bike is fundamentally a cruiser, it actually makes you want to ride it like a sports bike. It's it's a bit Jekyll and Hyde. So I think when word first got out that Harley was bringing in this Revolution Max engine and this sort of new era of high-tech bikes, I think there was a bit of resistance from the kind of die-hard Harley guys, but really, and I honestly think that's probably died off a bit now, but there really shouldn't be. It is, in a sense, I suppose, a new era, but oh, what a great thing to be involved with. It just gives us something to look forward to. If you've got, if you enjoy the Harley Davidson flavour, and I've ridden Harleys for the last 13 years. I actually don't have a Harley at the moment, but I am kind of missing it. Looking forward to riding the Pan America. That might be an interesting one for me, and I was very much looking forward to this, and this is proving to be quite an interesting one as well. So yeah, I just think it's nice that Harley are going down a slightly different road, and there's something a bit different to look forward to. All your traditional, your fat boys and your breakouts and your soft tails, all that sort of stuff, it's all going to remain. You're still going to be able to buy the big stuff. I would think for a lot of guys that are Harley through and through, and I know a few guys that wouldn't even consider riding anything but a Harley. I think for those guys that have got an electric glide or a road glide or something like that in the garage, this would be a great second bike. This would be the sort of thing that you just go and have a little bit of a carve up on a Sunday morning or whenever you're feeling. It would be a fantastic second bike if you wanted to stick with Harley as as something a bit different, Very nice, compliant sort of manners in traffic. It would be a nice bike to ride around town if you were commuting on it or whatever. It's the fueling is very well done, going nice and slow in even third and fourth. It's nice and gentle on and off the throttle. There's nothing to not like there, really. I'm actually amazed how this position feels feels so normal now. I can't believe that. This is lovely. In terms of the looks of this bike, I think, you know, I mean, obviously looks are subjective, aren't they? Personally, I think this could actually be one of the best looking bikes of the year. I think it needs a few little cosmetic tweaks, but almost everybody that rides Harleys takes that as read. I think with a tiny little bit of tweaking, this could be an extremely good looking machine. And it absolutely does what it says on the tin, for sure. I think that 125 Newton meters of torque, much as that's not a massive number, it comes in, they've got, you know, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to understand it that well, to be honest, but holy crap, they've got it right. It comes in just where you want it. A Harley with this performance is just an absolute revelation. It's so sports bike like. You don't, I mean, the weight, I suppose the engine being a stress member, the centre of gravity must be really low, because the weight, you're just not feeling the weight. The way it moves, the way it picks its feet up. Amazing. I'll tell you what this is. This is a bike, this is a Harley for people that don't like Harleys. That's what this is. This is for the guy that said, I'll never have a Harley. Ride one. If you think you'd never enjoy a Harley, if you think you're not old enough, ride one of these. I think this is going to be a very, very popular bike for Harley Davidson. I think when word gets out and these are seen on the streets and people start talking about them properly, I think this is going to be a really good selling bike for Harley. And good on them. They've built something that's nice. Very impressed. So we'll pull in a little further up here and we'll have a bit of a walk around and talk about the specs. I'm not going to go into loads of detail, we'll just have a run through the basics, but as far as I'm concerned, I see my job here being to tell you what this bike feels like, what you feel like when you're riding it, and what it's all about in that sense. Okay, so this is a good spot for a little walk round, so let's just do a quick blast through some of the specifics of the 2021/22 Harley Davidson Sportster S. So 26,495 is the starting price. That's for the vivid black version. Midnight Crimson and this stone washed white pearl adds $295 to that price. 228 kilograms curb weight, 11.8 litre tank, which by my rough calculation should give you about 230 k's conservative riding. 753mm seat height, which as you can see is a real nice, comfortable, easy to manage height. Okay, so the throbbing heart of this beast is of course the new Revolution Max 1250T engine, a 60-degree V twin with double overhead camshafts and variable valve timing. It's full ride by wire, and the engine, interestingly, is a structural member of this machine. So power wise, it's making 121 brake horsepower. That comes in at 7,500 revs. Torque is 125 Newton meters at 6,000 revs. It has a very flat torque curve, so that makes for unbelievable acceleration and really good mid-range power. In terms of kind of convenience and technology, this is where Harley have really you know, stepped away from the norm. So full LED lighting, a really nice round 4-inch colour TFT, Bluetooth connectivity, which gives you moving map navigation, music playback. It's even got voice command. I think some of that you have to do through the Harley Davidson app. We've got 5 riding modes, which are rain, road and sport. There's also 2 configurable modes, and they're fully configurable for power delivery, engine braking, ABS, traction control, all that sort of stuff, which is obviously lean sensitive as well. I say obviously, but in terms of sports bikes, that these days would be obvious. But in terms of Harley, fantastic. Moving on. Keyless entry, as you would expect with Harley, and cruise control, which I think should be standard on everything these days. In terms of suspension, we've got 43mm inverted forks there at the front, adjustable for compression, rebound and preload, as is the rear suspension, which is just a rear monoshock basically, but yeah, all adjustable for all 3. Cast aluminium wheels, a massive 160 tyre on the front and a 180 on the back. 4-pot Brembo calipers on the front and a single pot on the back. Brakes feel absolutely fine. I mean, spec-wise, that's not the highest, but in terms of stopping power, they feel absolutely fine. I got no issues with the brakes whatsoever. I think the only thing that this bike is absolutely crying out for, to be honest, that exhaust, much as there's nothing particularly wrong with it, that's kind of letting the bike down a little bit in my opinion, and it's screaming out for a tail tidy. That piece of scaffolding on the back there needs to go. But other than that, fantastic machine up to now. So let's get out and do some riding. I gather via the Harley app, which I haven't had a play with, this machine even has voice control. There is a little icon down here for voice control. Who'd have thought there'd ever be a Harley Davidson with voice control? Come on. So I had a Fat Boy for about 5.5 years, and then a CVO Breakout for about 8 years, and really enjoyed both bikes. This is not the same. It's obviously a chunk lighter, but it's just in a different category. It's actually very, very nice. I'm getting a bit repetitive now, aren't I? I'm actually actively trying to think of bad things to say about it. Even the bloody mirrors are good. I was actually looking at the bike while I was sat eating my lunch earlier, and funnily enough, and I don't know why, it kind of reminded me of a caricature of a bike. If you said to a kid, you know, somebody that could do real good caricatures, you know, do a caricature, it's with the sort of blown up tires and the sort of over exaggerated exhaust and such like. It's certainly from the right hand side, on the exhaust side, it does look a bit like a caricature of a bike. But the more you look at it, the cooler it gets, you know. This is a very, very confidence-inspiring bike to ride. It's very easy to ride. And I can't believe, I keep repeating myself, I know I'm getting boring, but I can't believe how actually comfortable it is, considering I really thought the opposite. Okay, so I'm almost back at the shop now, so I think it's probably time to draw this one to an end. I've had an exceptionally enjoyable morning on the Sportster S. It is a bike that truly does not disappoint. This has been worth the wait, let me tell you. So if it's even remotely of any interest to you, especially if you live in WA, pop into Highway Harley in Midvale. The guys there, Michael, Jason and Matthew, will look after you, I am sure. Please mention that you've watched the video on Handlebars and Holidays, that would be good. So yeah, I will be back with you soon. I've got all sorts of things in the pipeline. I don't want to spoil any surprises, but please stick with me. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. hit the notification bell, comment. Always good to hear from people. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be back with you soon, and as always, take care and ride safe.